It's no secret. It's plain to see. And I love you.
Good morning, good early morning, wherever you are. I know a lot of my listeners are out on the West Coast. But anyway, good morning. Good to see you guys here. Tina, you're the first on today. Thank you for jumping on the Fireside podcast that we have going on, the Unstoppable Mindset. Hope this week is going well for many of you out there today. Who are listening, who might be listening live, or who will be listening to this recording. But we are here. We are here, and it's good to be here. We're going to continue talking about the unstoppable mindset, and we've talked about some things over the past week. And Tina, you said something that has stuck with me all week long. Tina, you said that as long as I'm moving or taking action, it's impossible. It's impossible to live in anxiety or live in hey Seth, hey Marwan. It's impossible to live in depression if I'm taking action, if I'm moving. And that leads me to what we're going to talk about today. Um, I want to talk about massive action. I want to talk about massive action. I want to invite Seth on up, and we're going to get this thing fired up. Patrick, what's happening? Thanks for joining. Good to see Marwan. Good to see Tina. We want to talk about part of the unstoppable mindset is massive action, learning to take massive action, because and that'll lead us into another part of the conversation that I want to talk about is that mood will follow the action instead of waiting to get in the mood to take the action. A lot of times we just need to take the action and the mood will follow. Good morning, Seth. How you doing, brother?
Good morning. Good morning. I'm doing well.
How you making out, man? Everything well?
Everything is good. It's a
Very good.
whole 9 degrees
9 degrees,
where I'm at.
21 where I am. Heat wave. Heat wave.
Yeah. So uh glad I'm inside.
Yeah. Man, we want to talk about, and we're going to continue on. Good to see Daniela here today. Um, we're going to continue on talking about this unstoppable mindset, and we've talked about things over the course of the past weeks and whatnot. But one thing I think that we really need to talk about, we can't avoid, is to reach goals, to become unstoppable, to whatever it is you have set before you. You must take action. Massive action, not just action, massive action. Massive. You can listen to the videos all you want. We can watch motivational speakers. We can take class after class after class. You can join a cohort like mine, the Unstoppable Challenge, 6 weeks to personal growth. All that is great. But if you don't take the personal action, if you do not take the action, nothing is going to change. Nothing. Listen, I read this post today. I think, somebody sent it to me. Somebody's always sending me memes. You guys live in the same time I live in, so you get a meme every day. Somebody sent me a meme that said, "The doctor doesn't heal you. Your coach doesn't make you a winner. The gym doesn't make you fit. None of that happened. It's all up to you. You have to take action toward all of that. You have to take. So I want to talk about some of the things. I want to talk about why sometimes we don't take massive action. Why don't we, as Grant Cardone says, 10x it? Why don't we, as Tony Robbins talks about, taking we take, how much is, what is massive action? What is enough? How much action should I put toward it? Let's talk about that stuff today. Let's talk about that. So, Seth, when we think about action, you got goals, you got things you want to achieve. And when I'm talking about massive action, what does massive action look like, or what do you think it is? Is there a limit to it? How much action do you take during the course of the day? Talk to me.
Yeah. I think it's huge. And like you said, I think there's so much out there today that is, talking about your dreams, talking about what you want, But
Yeah.
then I think it's possible to stay in this world where we're visualizing it, we're thinking about it, we're dreaming about it, we're writing goals down, and we're not actually taking the action. And something interesting about how our brain works is our brain often doesn't know the difference between reality and what's happening in our mind. So on one end, that's why visualization, that's why thinking about the future, that's why dreaming and planning is really important. But I know I've fallen into it at times where I spend so much time planning, so much time thinking, so much time dreaming that your brain gets a little high, a little bit of a hit from that. And then all of a sudden you don't feel like you need to take action. Like your brain doesn't feel the urgency of needing to take action because your brain's like, oh
Yeah.
man, that felt good. You just spent 2 hours dreaming.
And that felt
Um,
great. Yeah.
yeah, that was good. I
Yeah.
got so much done today. You haven't done anything. So I think with that, it's like we got to be aware of the benefit of spending. We have to get our mind there, but
Yeah.
at the same time, we got to take action, and we got to
Yeah.
realize that once we get our mind there, that our mind's going to be a lot more clear on what actions we need to take. But man,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just thinking this morning, I'm like, man, I didn't jump on this show to feel guilty, but I'm feeling guilty this morning thinking
No,
about
no, I
like,
don't
I
want.
know, but just thinking about how easy it is to be stuck in this where we're thinking about it all.
Yeah.
Um, and we're hoping it all comes to us. We're hoping our dreams are going to come to us. We're hoping, the money's going to come to us. We're hoping the opportunities are going to come to us, as opposed to taking
Yeah.
action to create those, to go and find them, to say,
Yeah.
I'm going to go to them.
You guys realize this is the fundamental difference between those with an average mindset and those with an unstoppable mindset, is that those with an unstoppable mindset take the action. And I brought this topic up because it's the stuff that said. I laughed out loud because I did that. Like, man, I spent 10 hours, 2 hours, like I said, dreaming about it. And how was your day today? It was great. Took no action toward what I was
Yeah.
dreaming about. In order to get the outcomes that we desire, ladies and gentlemen, we have to take the steps.
Right.
We have to take the steps. I'm glad that you signed up for the course. I'm glad you have a gym membership. I'm all those things. I'm glad. But now it takes action. it takes it takes action. It takes
Yeah.
action. Um,
Yeah,
so
it's true.
it's
Tomorrow I got a 3-hour session with a business consultant that I'm working with, and we're going to be, you know, taking time to clarify and focus for the
yeah,
next year and 3 years of my business. So that's
yeah,
going to be great. I guarantee you, like when I'm done with that at 1 o'clock, I'm going to feel like I got so much done in the last 3 hours. But those
yeah.
plans aren't going to put themselves into practice. Like
No,
I still got to then, and it's not going to work if I don't look at those plans for the next year. Like we got to actually break those down into, okay, what kind of actions do I have to take
yeah,
today, tomorrow,
yeah,
this week, this month?
yeah. Guys, and then while taking the action, or after taking the action, or during taking the action, you can only track and review your performance after the action. And so, oh yeah, I'm tracking. Well, what are you tracking? You didn't take any action. What are we tracking here? We didn't take any action. So, and this is, you can only track and review your performance after the action. Um, Another thing too, I think that may impede us, and I want to invite anybody who would like to come to the stage to join in. Please join in. This is not Ralph Graves' lecture period. This is just, you know, we're just growing together. But another thing is that mood follows action. I can't tell you how many times I didn't feel like doing something. I didn't feel like applying. I didn't feel like doing any of it. And then I started with the action, and then the mood changed, and then the mood changed toward it while I was there and while I was getting it. But in order to reach these goals and these peak performances, in order to track peak performance and action, you have to take action. You have to take place. On one of my podcasts, one of the most I've talked to, I don't know, I think there's like 74, 75 episodes of my podcast now, right? So that's something like that.
Yeah.
And on one of them, Munchow, I think his name was Dave Munchow, the most remarkable guy I talked to, one of the most remarkable. This dude, 59 years old. I hope you're listening to me. 59 years old. Runs from Disneyland to Disney World. Yes, yeah, Disneyland, I believe it's California. Disney World in Florida. 59 years old with type 1 diabetes, right? Great idea, this, that, and the other, whatever. Now he's preparing to swim 12 miles around the Florida Keys. He's 61 now, right? I have to motivate myself to walk around the 3 hour or the 3 mile walk around the block, but he runs from Disneyland to Disney World, and he's 8, 9 years older than I am. But um, um, had a goal in mind, wanted to reach the goal. Said, Ralph, I had to take action toward it. And I said, Dave, how did you do it? He said, one step at a time. One step at a time. I didn't worry about the next mile. I just ran the mile I was running. And, and so what a mindset to have. We get so worried about a certain part of the race, and we didn't even start the race yet, guys. Sometimes in some areas. Be aware of where you are. We're talking about this unstoppable mindset. Run the mile that you're in. Give it everything you got. Take massive action toward it, and we'll begin to really move that. Be able to really track our performance and move toward our goals. Listen, I'm gonna invite some folks to the stage. Anybody want to come on up? Anybody? Would love to hear you speak. Would love to hear you contribute to what we're talking about. We're talking about the unstoppable mindset. Hey, there's Tina. Good morning.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good
How are you,
morning.
Tina?
Good.
Good.
So I put in the comments dopamine. So what you're talking about when you don't do something and you plan and you plan, I call that procrastination planning. And sometimes the dopamine, the enjoyment comes from that. So what I try to do is time-based activities. So instead of saying I need to finish this small activity associated with this task, I'm going to spend so many actionable minutes on that task.
Okay. I like that. I like that.
Make
That's a
sense?
plan. That's what we call an action plan.
Mm-hmm.
It's a plan, and it's an action plan. I like that. What you call procrastination? What did you say? It was called procrastination planning.
Yeah, yeah. It's you
Yeah,
Right.
procrastinate by doing other things instead of doing the thing you set out to do.
yeah, yeah. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. And that's one of the tools and strategies that you use. You do one thing, and I like that. I like what
And
what
Tina,
you're doing.
you you're in this world as a licensed psychologist. So help us understand like what's going on in our mind with the dopamine when on one end, like maybe when we're planning and we don't take action. But then also on the other end, when like Ralph said, we take action and then our mood changes. Like how is that working? Help us understand that.
Yeah, so dopamine is the feel-good stuff. So if it's some type of activity you like doing, sometimes it's jumping out of planes, sometimes it's planning. Some people like the getting containers to organize things, but then they don't actually like to organize things like that.
That's me. That's me. But go ahead.
Uh, So the mood that follows is so anyway, the planning stuff is in the prefrontal cortex at the very front of our brain that doesn't develop until our mid 20s and sometimes later. And then right behind that is the amygdala, which is the seat of emotion. So what happens is the emotional responding from an action comes from that. And you have to make sure not to be in too high of a mood state or too low of a mood state because that could contribute to um, errors in thinking, decision making based on mood instead of being neutral about it. Good example would be gambling. You win, keep putting money in. Well, I won big, and put all this money in, you lose everything. That's how the casinos win.
Yeah, yeah. That's good stuff. Listen, guys, where else you going to go to hear from professionals like Tina to really break down on how our mind works and really break it down on and give us some practical tools to really help us be successful in this thing. Thank you, Tina. Thank you for chiming in and saying those things. Always great to have you come on up to the stage and contribute. Anybody else? Anybody else? Good to see Danielle, Jasmine, Jess, Louisa, Marwan, Patrick, anybody else, you guys are welcome to come on up. We're talking about taking this massive action instead of just talking about it. Maybe you want to share what are some of the things that prevent you from taking. What is massive action? Or what may prevent you from taking action toward goals, or how much action is enough? Anyone care to share? What do you think massive action is, Seth?
Well, I was just going to ask you. I'm curious to
Yeah.
like, what are some times for you in your story when you would define them as taking massive action? Maybe starting a project, maybe quitting something. Like, what are some times when you look back on your life when you're like, okay, yeah, I took massive action, and it changed a lot after that.
Oh man. Um, Me and my speaking development. You guys, maybe you don't know, I pastor a church, and I preach, and I preach all the time, and I've been a public speaker since I was a child. Um, but I knew I had to develop it more. There were some things I didn't know, or I just want to be better. I still want to be better. And I took massive action toward that. I joined the National Speakers Association. I understood the getting around your tribe. I understood around getting around people who are moving in the same direction. Put your pride aside. You don't know everything that there is. So I took massive action that way. When it came to that, to take massive action when it comes to my personal growth, man. Always reading, developing, studying, and sharing. And I want to bring people along on this journey with me. Um, but I'm going to tell you, there's a dark side to massive action. And I had to nail down, ladies and gentlemen, the times of day that I work the best and that I'm the most mentally sharp. And I had to nail that down. Um, and then be careful not to work so much outside of that, because then I would go to bed frustrated and angry and upset. That I do enough? But you have to know yourself. You have to know when to turn it on. You got to know when to turn it off. And so I'm constantly learning that, constantly. And I want to bring people along on this journey to really find that out about themselves. What are the best times for you to work? When's the best time for you to put together most of the people on here are content builders, providers. So when's the best time for you to put your content together? Your best hours might be different than someone else's hours. I'm not the kind of guy that says, oh, you have to do it in the morning. I know some people can't work in the morning. I got a friend of mine that he does his best work up until about 3 in the morning. But you have to figure that out. I think so. For me, so taking massive action was really figuring out who I am, the best, what I am during the best times of day, and how can I produce during those times, man. So I just took massive action in discovering Ralph Graves Jr.
Yeah.
That's what I took massive action in.
Yeah. There's been times for me where um, I've kind of called it like the point of no return. And I think
Yeah,
intentionally putting ourselves in a position where we can't go back. So,
yeah,
um, there's some ideas that I'm spending a lot of time right now learning about. Sorry, I just got a phone call, went through, cut me out of here. But I'm spending a lot of time right now learning about cryptocurrency, learning about NFTs, and starting to experiment on, what are ways that podcasters can start to, build their audiences, build engagement through things like NFTs and cryptocurrency. So this is something, for the
yeah,
last couple months, I've been spending quite a bit of time learning about all this stuff. And it's something that is complicated in that uh, there's many days where I'm like, I don't want to be learning about this. I don't want to be like, this isn't a problem that I want to solve.
right,
But I
yeah,
also know that there's something inside me that's felt like, you know what, you need to figure out how to solve this problem.
yeah,
So
yeah,
there's been some things, some like big partnerships that I've kind of known, okay, I want to take these partnerships. And so, I want to like see these partnerships come to fruition, and that's going to help solve this problem. And so
yeah.
some of the things I've done has been, uh, oh, I got some static. Hold on.
It's not so bad on our end. You're good.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I got you.
All right. Not sure what's going on. I think I get static when a phone call comes in or something. Okay. All right. Anyway, so I think, there were some steps towards these partnerships that I put into play far before I felt like, okay, I'm ready for this.
Yeah,
Because I knew if I start these conversations are going to keep going. And those conversations are going to like keep me moving forward because I'm going to have to show up and bring value and bring what I'm learning. And so I think that there's times where we can take action that maybe we don't feel fully ready for yet. And the results of those actions are going to kind of keep us moving forward. And so
yeah,
that's been kind of something where I've done. And there's been a couple different times in my life where it's been like, you know what, I'm not ready for this yet, but I'm going to make this move that's going to get other people involved with my action. Maybe that's joining a mastermind. Maybe that's hiring a coach. I don't feel ready for a coach yet, but if I hire a coach, then next month I'm going to have to show up and talk to him about it.
that's right. That's right. Yeah,
And so, we kind of take these steps we don't feel ready for because then it's going to kind of pull us forward and we're going to, we're going to get ready. We're going to figure out a way to be ready. And so that's one thing that I've historically kind of done. It's been like, okay, I'm going to keep pushing myself kind of past this point where I can't go backwards now. I can't,
yeah,
I've told other people about my idea. I've told other people what I've put myself out there. So and
yeah,
that's where,
yeah,
social accountability and some of these principles come into play is,
yeah,
we don't want to let other people down. And that's a real
yeah,
thing. And so getting other people involved in our action can oftentimes help us to keep moving forward.
yeah. Guys, listen, time is going to pass anyway. So you might as well invest the time and take massive action toward your goals. You have to define what massive is. You could be a busy mom, you could be a busy father, you could be running a business, whatever the case may be, but you have to define what massive action is. But take that action toward your goals. I'm not encouraging you to let it consume your every waking moment because we still have to build relationships. We still have to, live in this world and cultivate some things and do our day to day. But take the action that you need to move towards your goals, to accomplish the goals. And then remember last week we kind of touched on it last week. Sometimes we reach goals and we get there and it's like a letdown, like, okay, what's next? What's next? What's next? When does it ever stop? Well, it stops when you have built what you said you wanted to build.
Mm-hmm.
It stops when you want it to stop. It stops when it's the for me the larger the end game is not money. Like money comes if you're just making the impact and doing the right thing. I think that when you feel fulfilled in your calling. Let's face it, guys. We're on this a podcast like this for more than just making money. We're on this platform because there's something inside of us that has always been calling us and drawing us, and we're moving ever closer to it, and we will get to make real impact in the world. And so you have to take that massive action, take that action to move you toward your place of impact, your place of needs you. I'm telling you, we need you. I don't care what it is that you do. We need you. I will become my best that I can be. I will become my best when you become yours, and vice versa. I need you to be the best. I need you to fulfill it. I need you to make it. I need you to make all your dreams come true. I need you to reach your goals. And all of that is going to take massive action.
Love it.
It's going to take action. I'm just pouring my heart out here today. I ain't got no script today for you guys. I'm just pouring out my heart, man. It's going to take action towards it. I don't want you just to and that's why we have to be mindful of what we read and what we hear and what we listen to. And I love how you kicked it off, Seth, and said sometimes you get so caught up in the planning and we get that dopamine hit that Tina talked about, and we get satisfied right where we are, and then we don't move. Guys, we still have to move. We still have to do it.
Yeah.
Anybody else want to come up on stage and just talk about this massive action, this action? What does it look like for you?
And I mean, we touched on this, but I think one of the biggest things to help with massive action is getting other people involved.
Yes.
It might be formal, like joining a mastermind or getting a coach or something. I've mentioned those ideas, but it might also just be, checking in with somebody and saying, hey, this is something I've been wanting to do. I need you to help keep me accountable. Can we check in next week? And I want to talk about, how things are going.
I think you need a community, without a doubt. A
Yeah.
community is very important.
Yeah. I know there was a study, I remember learning this in college, which was 10 years ago. So I'm sure the study was a long time ago, but they followed the career of different Harvard grads, and they checked in with them like 10 years after they graduated. And one group of them, they were in the habit of regularly writing their goals down. The other wasn't. They're like, you know what, we know what they are in our head, we'll reach them. And the results were astounding at, how much more likely people were to write down the goals than the people that weren't. And so I think
Wow.
in one sense, like the simple practice of writing down the action, like thinking about it, but then writing down the actions that we're going to take, that's going to get our mind in alignment with where we're going. And then you actually know, okay, what are you going to do? And the journal that I'm using right now, like it only gives me space to write down probably 3 to 5 things that I'm going to do in the day. And so it really, I think focusing and, writing down, okay, here's the couple things that I'm going to take action on today goes a long way.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for that. Hey, we welcome Jasmine to the stage. Hey, Jazz. Wonderful.
Okay, so I just wanted to talk about the whole massive action thing for me. And this is exciting because I just kind of went full force with my new business, which is Jayla Ray Photography. It's not really new. I've been doing it for probably 6 or 7 years at this point, but really putting myself out there. And something that I've done to stay on course is I watch how other people in my lane have done it. Like I'll YouTube like crazy people's success stories, follow them on Instagram. I've reached out to people that I don't know, that I've seen their work, that I've looked them up. And, it doesn't hurt to ask a question. If they respond to you, they respond to you. If not, oh, well, you just move on. But I think another important thing in which you guys said was having a team behind you. You, of course, being my father, and also other men and women in my life that are constantly, following up with me, challenging me and stuff like that. So, I take action that way as well.
Well, thank you for sharing. I wasn't going to tell anybody you were my daughter, but hey,
Oh.
ladies and gentlemen, that's my daughter, my oldest child. So very proud of her. And she's doing a wonderful job. And thank you, Jasmine, for contributing. And thank you for coming up on stage and sharing. And keep at it. Keep at it. I think that's a great strategy of what she has said. So what do you think, man? Finding a tribe, and we talk about community.
Yeah, I think it's huge. I think there's something to be said, at times we feel like we got to do something unique and we can't copy other people, and it's not always copying, but I love Jasmine, what she was saying about looking at other people in the industry and, modeling what she's doing off of them. So I think there's times where like, man, I don't know what to do. And shocker, but what you want to accomplish in life, somebody else has probably accomplished it. There's 8 billion people in the world. So there's probably somebody that you can go to, or somebody that you can look at online that you can kind of see like, okay, what are they doing? And there's going to be a unique twist that you add to it. For sure. And it's important to be unique.
And it is unique for what I just want to encourage everybody listening, everyone listening, stay consistent in it, guys. Stay consistent. We've heard Tina's story over the past couple weeks, and the consistency and staying out of the comfort zone. We're going to crack the code. Seth and I talk about it every week. Hey man, we're going to stay consistent. We're going to be able to. We're going to crack the code. We're going to crack the code. But you have to stay in it. Keep taking that action. Show up every week. Stay consistent. I love the writing down piece of it. That changed my life. Writing the goals down in my journal. Whether it's a journal that you have to fill out everything yourself. There's journals now that they ask you questions. In my book, Unstoppable, in between each chapter, we ask some questions about, how can you apply these different principles to your life and things like that. And I think writing it down and staying in front of the right people, all of these things are action steps or practical tools that go beyond just the studying part of it. Seth has a great story he tells about making a phone call, meeting someone at the airport. That's massive action.
Mhm.
Back when you could get in airports.
Yeah.
I think when you bought a ticket just to talk to somebody, right?
Oh yeah. I was like, I'm trying to remember this. Yeah, somebody who is, somebody that I wanted to be a mentor of mine. I knew this person, but they were somebody that they've done much more than I have in life. And I've seen them give away hundreds of millions of dollars. Like, no joke, not lying on the numbers. Like, that's how much their family business gives away each year towards causes they care about. So I was like, man, this person's somebody I want to learn from. So yeah, I sent them an email and I said, what's the best way for me to learn from you? Like, can we talk on the phone once a month? Can I come to Oklahoma City? Like, I'll come to Oklahoma City to come buy you lunch. And he was like, well, once a month I'm in the Dallas airport. I have a bunch of meetings and in the Emerald Club or whatever it was. So he said, I'm going to be there this day. If you want to meet me there, I'd be happy to have lunch together. So yeah, I flew out of Colorado, flew to Dallas in the morning, had lunch, didn't even leave the airport terminal, hopped back on a plane and flew back and was back for dinner. And
Ladies and gentlemen, that's what it takes. That's what it takes. That's what it takes.
And
I love the email.
I still have the napkin. I'm actually looking at the napkin right now that at the Chili's. We were at Chili's in the airport, and I still got the napkin that my mentor there took some notes on and gave to me to, so that there were some things I could take home and remember. But yeah, was it worth it? Absolutely. Do I remember everything that we talked about? No, not at all. But I remember like the essence of realizing the value of like, oh man, like we can take steps, we can get access, we can learn from people that are further than us. But
Yeah.
wouldn't have worked with phone call. I had to go meet
No,
them.
I love the email that you sent. I hope you guys took that note. I hope you guys wrote it down. What's the best way, or what did you say? How can I learn from you? What
Yeah,
did
I
you
think I
say?
just said like I shared a little bit. I just said, hey, here's kind of where I'm wanting to go. I see you've
Yeah.
accomplished a lot of that. What's the best way for me to learn from you and what you're doing?
What's the best way for me to learn from you and what you're doing? Man, listen, and he couldn't help but say, you know what? Come on, meet me here. But that's the massive action. It was up to Seth to get there. It'll be up to you to get there, guys. It's taken the massive action. So a lot of times massive action is not just volume. It's not just the quantity of things. That was a massive email. That's what we call massive action. That was right to the point. This is who I am. Here's the big ask. And Jasmine, you talked about doing that, reaching out to people that continue to do that. That little phone call, that is massive action. So guys, we're talking about being unstoppable. We're talking about doing what it takes. We're talking about, in order to be unstoppable, we're going to have to move past the classes. We're going to have to move past some of the things that we've learned and honestly take action towards it. Guys, I don't know if you know or don't know. Thank you. Go to my website, Ralph at ralphgravesjr.com. We're doing a 5-day challenge, a free 5-day challenge. We're going to be launching this in personal growth, but we're going to do a 5-day challenge totally free. Website is ralphgravesjr.com/challenge. Sign up for that challenge. We're going to spend 5 days. We're going to show up at the same place 5 days strong, and we're going to talk about realizing where you are, understanding where you are. We're going to talk about clarity. We're going to talk about some practices. We're going to talk about the importance of community. There's a whole lot that we're going to be talking. I'm going to give you a whole lot in those 5 days, completely free. I would love to. And if it may not be for you, it could be for someone else, but it's Ralph at ralphgravesjr.com/challenge. Share it, sign up yourself, share it, be a part of it. And as we continue to cultivate in this unstoppable this unstoppable mindset, So, but
It's gonna be good.
that's all I got for today.
Yeah, we gotta go. We gotta get off here and go take some action.
That's right. Got to take some action. Go to my podcast, The Unstoppable Podcast, Ralph Grace Jr. If you'd like to be on that podcast, email Seth. I would love to have you guys on there. Email Seth at seth@storyon.co. Seth@storyon.co. And
That's
he
me.
will get you on the Unstoppable Podcast with Ralph Grace Jr. Guys, you have a wonderful, a fantastic, and outstanding